Hey everybody, Professor Smith here. Hope all is going well. Hope everybody's good. Hope everybody's safe. Before I get into talking about journal number 5 and what I'm expecting of you and why I want you to do it, I want to just take a moment to say, wow, I cannot believe that we are 5 weeks into this project. It really does feel like yesterday that I was outlining the project, putting up journal 1, and we were talking real generally about what it is that we may or may not want to do. At 5 weeks, more than halfway through the project, I really hope that you could sit down and reflect and think about what you've learned in two respects. One, in terms of the subject that you've chosen, whatever specific thing that is. I know one or two of you have chosen COVID and the sports industry. I know one specifically chose to do work on the bubbles that the major leagues are working with. So for you, for all of you, I'm hoping that you have learned something. I'm also hoping that you've learned something about the research process and how to go about it, so that when it comes up next semester or the semester after, you have the skills necessary in which to go about doing what needs to be done. So let's just take a moment and let's reflect on the last 5 weeks of work, thinking about where we were, thinking about how we got to where we are now, and then also even thinking about where we need to be to finish this project in the next 3 weeks, which it is due in about 3 weeks' time. So with that, let's turn to journal number 5. I titled it Working Thesis Statement. As I mentioned yesterday, well, when I say yesterday in the last video, a thesis statement, a thesis answer requires time. It has to be well crafted, and that can only be done with energy and a commitment to making a good thesis statement, to writing a good thesis statement. The only other way is to just steal something from the internet or ask somebody to do it for you. But if you're looking to do it yourself, there really is no other way around it. What I've asked you to do over the last 4 weeks between actual research and journaling has hopefully led us to this moment where we're actually able to start the first or second aspect, the first draft of this well-crafted thesis statement that will change, that will grow, right? A thesis statement is one sentence. It sometimes is longer, as I mentioned, but for the sake of this paper, it is one sentence, and it goes in the same spot always for this paper, the last sentence of your introduction. Pretty much you could think of a thesis statement as broken up into two separate parts. Think about the topic and think about the claim. So you could look at the two examples below and how they're building that together to make a decent thesis statement, right? A statement that is argumentative, that takes a stance, that has purpose to it, that it's not just a book report, right? The thesis statements don't just happen. They require, as I said, deliberate and careful thought. So I want to go over these little points before I actually read through what I'd like for you to do for this week. So your thesis statement should have a topic and a claim, right? Or as we were talking last week, your thesis statement, or as with your question, should have a what is the problem and who is that problem happening to. You have to be able to say specifically what you're going for and what your claims are going to be. Your thesis statement should mirror the ideas of your body, meaning that if I'm arguing in my paper that jumping is really cool, and my 3 points are jumping is cool because A, B, and C, I try and work that into my thesis statement to create some sort of roadmap for the reader so that they know what they're going to be expecting. Your thesis statement should generally appear at the introductory paragraph. As I said before, the last sentence of your introduction is ideal for that to go. And your thesis statement can't be implicit. Your thesis statement can be implicit as well as explicit, meaning that you do want to have exact claims that you're making, but you could also try and make other claims that are less direct in that thesis statement. So, what do I want you to do? Well, what I would like for you to do are these 5 things. Maybe I can put that down a little bit, right? Thing 1, and maybe you can zoom in a little bit. Sorry about that if it was a little small. But this is the real important part. So let's zoom in real close for this. What I want you to do, and you'll notice that before I get into it, you'll notice that each number, each question, I guess, each thing I'm asking you to do, tells you in parentheses or at some point how much I would like for you to write for that. So, what is your topic? 1 sentence is fine. An incomplete sentence is fine. Your topic, COVID and sports. Boom. What is your subject? That can be an incomplete sentence or just 1 sentence. My subject is COVID, sports, and focusing on the major league bubbles. Oops. 3, what is your working thesis statement? I want you to pretend that you've just finished writing your introduction and that you are writing your working thesis. So try and get it down to one sentence. 4, what support do you have as of right now for your working thesis statement? So, one of my favorite questions, and you really would have become aware of this if we were in class together and having more discussions, is why. I'm always asking why. People say things, and I want to know why they're saying that. So, if your thesis statement is jumping is cool, why? You can't just say it's cool and be like, well, I don't know, I just feel like it is. Well, I'm not going to believe you if you just feel like it's going to be. So what I need for you to do is I need for you to try and tell me what support that you're going to put into your paper. So what support do you have as of right now for your working thesis? For this one, this is pretty much the only bit where you're going to have to write a little bit because it should be hopefully 2 to 3 small paragraphs. Excuse me. Write small paragraphs for each point that you are going to bring up for support. So if at this point you have 1 piece of support, you'd have 1 paragraph. If you knew that you wanted to bring in 4 pieces of support, you would have 4 paragraphs. 5, what do you hope people do with the information that you give them? So I want you to start thinking about your audience here. Think about me, right? I've read your paper. Besides giving you an A, what would you like me to do? Do you want me to go and vote? Do you want me to go get some masks? Do you want me to not get some masks? Do you want me to do this? Do you want me to do that? I'm not sure, but if you could write down in a small paragraph what you would like people to do with the information that you've presented them, what they should do now that they believe your argument. So, if we do this, I think that we will be on our way to writing a good thesis statement. What I think you should start doing next is start writing your first draft of your paper. I think by next week, by Thursday, it would probably be a good idea to have your first draft finished. So I'm going to lighten up the reading for next week so that we could really focus more on writing that draft. But I really do think that it is time. We have 3 more weeks to get this done. It is an 8 to 10 page paper, and I'd really hate for you all to be sitting a night or 2 before killing yourselves writing this paper. So that's Journal 5. If you have any other questions, please let me know. There'll be some more videos and more information coming along through the weekend. So please check that out because there's a lot of good information out there about thesis statements that I'm hoping are going to be beneficial and helpful to you. All right. Good luck, everybody. Thanks.